Welcome to yet another amazing episode of Pure Minds, Pure Energy, Enlightenment Sessions with Nate and PMC. I'm your host, Nate Zalesnik, founder of the Integrated Ascension Method, or the I Am for short, and one of the only American master trainers of the ancient Indonesian royal system of breathwork, meditation, healing, energy building, and extrasensory art known as Merpati Putih. Before we dive in today, please make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the PMC and Integrated Ascension Method YouTube channels so that you never miss a single amazing episode. Today, I have the honor of introducing a truly transformational leader and meditation advocate, Jitesh Vaswani. As the Director of Partnerships for the Art of Living Foundation, Jitesh has played a pivotal role in bringing meditation and mindfulness to a global audience, collaborating with influencers like Ed Milet, Rainn Wilson, Lewis Howes, and Aubrey Marcus, to name just a few, in order to spread the profound wisdom of Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. With over 20 years of experience teaching sky breath meditation, Jitesh has impacted thousands of people worldwide, emphasizing the power of breath work, emotional intelligence, and inner peace as the foundation for true leadership and fulfillment. Whether he's speaking at TEDx, Google, or leading transformational workshops, his mission is very clear: to create a stress-free and violence-free society through the power of meditation and self-awareness. In today's conversation, we're going to dive deep into the science of breath, the power of meditation, and how these practices can transform not just individuals, but entire communities. So get ready for an enlightening discussion with Jitesh Vaswani. Jitesh, thank you so much for being here. It is an honor, my friend.
It is an honor to be here too with you, Nate. And I love the work that you do and bring to this world, and I'm thankful for it, grateful for it.
Where, as the sage Ram Dass said in the 1960s, we're all just kids walking each other home, and I'm so glad to be walking with you. You know,
Absolutely.
your journey into meditation started as a personal search for balance. So for you, what was really the turning point that led you to the Art of Living Foundation?
It's an interesting story, Nate. I'd actually been introduced to the Art of Living Foundation even when I was a kid.
Oh,
I took the first program when I was just 12 years old. So I had a brief memory of doing an excellent summer camp with the Art of Living Foundation, learned some, you know, basic breathwork and meditation techniques. Uh, and over a period of time, as I was growing up, especially around the high school time, is when I would miss those days a lot. I would miss a lot of my innocence when I was in middle school. I would miss just those friendships that had formed in the class. And when I was in my high school is when I took the program again, and this time I was a little bit more intentional about why I was going into it. So I was going into it to seek balance, like you said. uh, whether it's preparing for competitive exams. As a student, as a growing teenager, I had a lot of ambitions in my life. I wanted to be perfect at everything that I did, and that was causing a lot of stress in my mind. And Art of Living seemed like the perfect place to be to help deal with it. So that's how I kind of got introduced to it, reintroduced to it when I was in high school, and I started practicing the techniques and found immense benefit from it.
wow. So that's amazing that you found it so young. You know, when I was speaking at the Mega Meditation Summit 2 in uh, North Carolina earlier last year, when I asked people to raise their hand if they had a defining moment that put them on the spiritual path, so almost everybody there was Indian and Hindu, not one hand went up, which is really strange. I'd never heard that or seen that before. And then I asked another question. I said, "Okay, how many of you have been meditating since you were, say, 4 or 5 years old?" Every hand went up, and I went, "Oh, well, that's why." That's why. you know.
Right.
But we talked and had these conversations about sky breath meditation, and I know that's been shown to create some really profound mental and emotional shifts. Can you explain how that works and why it's so effective?
I think the breath and our mind are like best friends, in my opinion. See, handling the mind from the level of the mind does not work, right? For example, if I come to you, Nate, and say, think about anything, but don't think about a pink monkey wearing a blue skirt, right? And immediately the mind wants to just do exactly that, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a more relatable example is, for anybody who's watching this, all of us have had those nights when we are tossing and turning, we're not able to fall asleep, and we keep telling our minds, or we keep telling ourselves that, oh, I should be asleep already, I have an early morning tomorrow, why am I not asleep already?
Mm.
So handling the mind from the level of the mind does not work, right? So this is the recognizing this is step number one. Step number two is to see that all the emotions of the mind have an innate connection to our breath and breathing patterns. For example, how do you breathe when you are sad?
Most people breathe, actually, they hold their breath a lot.
They hold their breath a lot, right? And then they breathe very slowly. There's a lot of emphasis on the exhalation. They're sighing a lot. They're like, ah, right? It's a natural human response. How, as human beings, we how do we breathe when we are angry? Super
Usually
fast,
very
right?
quickly. Mm.
Very quickly, very fast, like right? Like you are
Mhm.
you are angry and it shows up in your breath, right? So the emotions of the mind have a very deep connection to our breath and breathing patterns. Now, thankfully, the ancient Indian rishis recognized this connection and recognized that this is a two-way street. It's not just the emotions affecting the breath and the breathing patterns, the vice versa is also true.
Mm.
So when Gurudev learned about this connection, Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, the founder of Sky Breath Meditation, he went into a period of silence in a distant town in remote India. He was in a period of silence for over 10 days. And the way he describes it is very beautiful. Like when you are when you are at peace with yourself, when you're in love with yourself, sometimes, like this is me saying it, have you noticed that there is like creativity that can flow out of us, right?
Mhm.
Like we write poems, we can, like we just want to do something creative. So he mentioned that when he was in this period of silence, the Sudarshan Kriya Yoga, or the sky breath meditation technique, came as a poem to him. And he started teaching this. He was already traveling and teaching all around the world, teaching breath work and meditation. But when this technique got revealed to him, he started teaching those around him. So from a small program in a village, this movement has spread to now 180 countries. It's very interesting, to know this origin story of Sudarshan Kriya, or the sky breath meditation. But this recognition that the breath and the emotions are connected came through observation,
Mhm.
right? For all these ancient rishis, because they would sit in deep meditation and they would just be observing their physiology, their psychology, and they wrote down in some ancient texts, like these secrets of breath. And just this recognition is good enough, actually, for a lot of people.
And going back thousands of years, looking at the texts of yoga, the original yogas were sitting and breathing. There were no asanas. It was just sitting and breathing originally for hours and hours, or sometimes days or weeks. And so everything comes back to the breath. And for a lot of people who are just beginning their meditation journey, a lot of people do struggle because, like you said, the pink monkey wearing a purple skirt, well, that can also be, did I pay my taxes? What is my
Yeah.
boss going to say to me? Why is my child so angry with me? What am I going to do tomorrow at work? There's all these other monkey mind chatter things that come in. So, for somebody who's just really stepping into this right off the bat, for you, what is the most important thing they should focus on?
I think, in my opinion, to forming a daily habit of sitting with yourself every single day.
Mm.
It can start with some breathing techniques, some meditation techniques, learning from a teacher, right? For example, we've all learned, like when we were growing up, right? We learned how to brush our teeth. We did not enjoy brushing our teeth, right, as kids. But our moms and our dads forced us to brush our teeth, and we slowly developed that habit, right? Initially, it was hard, but eventually, now it's second nature to all of us, right? Now, same way, like we look at ourselves, like we take a shower every day, we take a bath every day. So we have a lot of emphasis on physical hygiene, which is important, right? We brush our teeth every day, that's dental hygiene. But is there a practice in our lives that we can do every day which caters to mental hygiene? And that is something that has been missing in all of our lives. Neither at home nor at school were we really taught how to handle our own mind, how to handle our own emotions, and how to handle our, when I get anxious, what do I do, right? So this training is very important. So in Art of Living, for example, we have the Art of Living Part 1 program, where we teach everybody how to truly harness the power of your breath to handle this mind. And it starts with a simple step, just that intention that I want to make a difference in my mindset. I want to make a difference in how I live my life. And that's it. First, the intention comes. Second, the action is automatically there. The path is already laid out, right? Half the problem is solved when we want to make a difference. In my mind, in my opinion.
That's so beautiful. And Patriji, the founder of Pyramid Spiritual Society Movement, or PSSM, which is the parent company for our show right now with the Pyramid Meditation Channel, he had two very strong basic tenets. First of all, meditate daily. And the second
Mhm.
one is be with your breath. And
Yeah.
anytime you find yourself wandering, bring yourself back into this present moment using your breath. And it sounds like the uh, Sudarshan Kriya. Did I say that correctly? Sudarshan
Yeah.
Kriya? Yeah.
Sudarshan Kriya. Yeah.
Yeah. I that it sounds in a way similar, and it makes a lot of sense. If you think about, I find this very interesting that the four avatars, the four most enlightened humans who have ever lived on the planet, Krishna, Zoroaster, Buddha, and Jesus, three of them were from India, and Jesus Christ. There are new archaeological findings showing that he had, in that space where he was missing in the Bible, he was in India
Yeah.
learning.
Yes. Yeah.
So, there's something to that. That truth is always truth, and no matter what you paint it as, truth will always be truth. And it's so interesting that I would bet anything that if you spoke to any one or all four of those avatars when they were alive, they would have said breath is the most important thing as well. I would be willing to bet, because so much of the time we're not humans being, we're not a human being, we're a human doing. And when we breathe, we bring ourselves back here. And that comes back, really it helps us in our emotional intelligence. So you often talk about emotional intelligence as a key to success. How does, for you, mindfulness really cultivate greater emotional awareness and resilience?
I think mindfulness is actually the first step, right? It's like you go to kindergarten, then you go to first grade, second grade, third grade, and then you slowly evolve on your journey, right? In my opinion, mindfulness is just the first step. It's like bringing your car to the driveway, but you have to go home, right? Like we all want to go inside, right?
Mm.
So mindfulness, you start becoming aware of the mind, but then eventually, in my opinion, what starts happening is being completely aware of the mind is very very hard, right? So we want a technique, we want a method per se which can make this process of mindfulness effortless. See,
Mm.
at the level of the body, effort is the key, right? Like we want a healthy body, we want to go to the gym, we want to work out, we want to exercise, right? So at the level of the body, effort is the key. But at the level of the mind, we want to be effortless, right?
Mm.
The more effort there is at the level of the mind, the more it keeps getting stuck, right? With the same example, the pink monkey with the blue skirt or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Whatever we resist at this level of the mind, that's what persists. So at the level of the mind, what we want is effortlessness. So
Mm.
mindfulness is the first step. The second step is developing a technique in our lives which can give us that mindfulness in an effortless way. That's where, like, breathing techniques like what you teach, what I teach, what Art of Living teaches, it's to make that process very effortless. Once a human being has developed that level of awareness, that level of emotional intelligence, then you can see, most of the mistakes that we do in our work life, or in our personal life, it's out of unawareness, right? So the moment we have developed that awareness and we let go of that unawareness, there's no effort needed to be successful. Now there's no effort needed to be, the right action just comes to us,
Mm.
right, in my opinion. So I think success and emotional intelligence are deeply tied together. Now it's important to note for those who are listening to us, when I say that dealing with different emotions, it's not that emotions are bad, right? It's like, for example, when we get angry, typically when we get angry, like I've seen people, families, they get into arguments, then they don't talk to each other, family members, for like, they don't talk to each other for like months. What Gurudev says is something very beautiful. It's not that we don't need to have any of these negative emotions. They were given to us for a purpose,
Right.
but they should last for as long as line drawn on water,
Mm.
instead of a line drawn on stone. When the emotions that we experience is like a line drawn of stone, it stays forever, right? You, like, people fight with their own brothers and their own sisters, or they fall into an argument, which is fine, but then they stay in that space for years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
How many loved ones have we lost just because we lost our cool, or like they lost their cool and we just got into an argument? So if somehow we can turn this behavior, like instead of the emotion being like a line drawn on stone, if instead of that it can be a line drawn on water, like how long do ripples last in water? Just a few moments,
Right.
and then we bounce back. So that skill is the skill of a yogi, is that we feel it fully, you feel the emotions fully. That's what's developing emotional intelligence, in my opinion, is that you don't resist the emotion, you feel it fully, you experience it, and then you come out of it quickly, using these techniques. So that's the goal. The goal is not to not feel those emotions, in my opinion.